Hello guys, how are you doing today? We come here to have class on a rather sad note. As most of you would have known by now, we have lost one of our campers, and that's Jenny Garden, right? So we're kind of in a somber mood, and I would like you guys to just take a moment sometimes to just reflect. We do not yet know the cause of death. Do not yet know the cause of death, and we are listening for our family to update us on that. However, feel free to reach out with your tributes, um, do something nice for them, some drawing, some animation, prayers, send your prayers up, whatever it takes. You can just let them feel like they're appreciated that someone is in their corner, right? So that is the situation. Um, Her mom said that she felt sick last night, not being sick prior, and then she went to the hospital and she was unresponsive this morning. So that has kind of shaken me up because Jenny was one of those quiet girls and she was very talented as well. Um, all you guys are very talented, and I know that she would have been very excited. She would have been excited to be at this class. So it's a bittersweet um, goodbye for me. All right, guys. So as I said before, feel free. Her mom is in the group, the animation group, the main group. So feel free to just reach out to them with their tributes privately, um, and just talk to them and tell them how it is. All right. Yes, and Jenny is from Jamaica. So without further ado, um, yesterday we weren't able to look at the animation side, even though I don't wanted to do that. However, we have we're gonna jump straight into that particular project today, and we're gonna be looking at how we create animations from start to finish, animation productions from start to finish. The people who are here, like um, Jalen and Nikai, the main gamers in the group, so the self-professed gamers, um, they 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 can benefit as well when it comes to knowing how to put together production. So, rest of you, this is perfect for you guys who want to make your own web series, right? And in a second, I will be starting to share the material with you. So this afternoon, we'll be looking at how to make an animation from scratch, and I will do a quick demo, and we move on. All right, guys. Also, I am contemplating adding 2 extra days to the lesson. It was supposed to be 8 days, but I will definitely give you guys 2 extra days. Um, Tomorrow is we'll be having no class tomorrow. We have on Thursday we will do more normal classes. On Thursday though we have 2 sessions, morning and afternoon sessions. And Friday will be off and we'll be on again on Sunday, right? Now on Sunday, I am expecting that you will come ready and prepared to pitch, right? So work on your documentation and come ready, prepared to pitch your idea on Sunday. And we will be using Zoom on Sunday, so therefore you guys will be live. As a matter of fact, we will be using I will have you here on as guests, so I can accommodate up to 6 people. So you guys will be able to pitch right here on YouTube, and you record it. Don't get nervous, as I said before, and just work on your documentation, work on your concept, and I'll start to give you some sort of guidance. All right. So you want to create an animated production, right? Now, creating an animating production is simple, but it's not easy, right? So basically, what we try to do when we're creating animated productions is break it down into its simplest steps, right? If you can break down a product or service, whatever it is, you can break stuff down into its simplest steps. Then you will realize that you can easily learn anything, right? So what I'm doing now is sharing my screen with you, and I'm looking at the animation workflow concept. Now I'm going to share this with you in the chat right here, and I'm also going to share it with you on your WhatsApp. Just share it in WhatsApp. I am sharing it especially in the animation group, right? So you guys can go ahead and look at that a little later on. All right, but definitely let us work this thing out. Right. So I am sharing it with you. There you go. So it's in WhatsApp and it's in the chat in the comment section of YouTube. So we're looking at the animation workflow concept, and the simplest way we can break it down is you have your storyboard, you have your scripts, you have your animation, you have your movie. How do we put everything together to ensure that we get a good product, right? So here are some steps in the workflow. The workflow consists of three steps: pre-production, production, and post-production. Pre-production is what you do before production, how you prepare for production, right? What happens when what happens when you are about to get your idea and up until you actually start putting pen to paper and drawing the animation. Post-production is your animation process. What's the process that you use to get your animation created and delivered, right? Post-production is what you do to fine-tune your animation, right? Um, that usually involves adding sound, adding special effects, adding um, video, different editing stuff. Now, the pre-production section can be broken down into your script writing, your storyboard, your character and prop location and design, audio recording, right? And your animatic. And then you can go ahead and do your character, prop design, background color styling, sound breakdown, and that goes into the production workflow. Now let's talk about storyboards. Storyboards are simply like comic strips where you have, so it's a storyboard that could be set up like this. Let me just send this to you so you know what a storyboard looks like. So this is an idea of what a storyboard will look like, right? So you have your scene, that's whether it's scene one, scene two, scene three. You have your box where you have whatever image you want at the camera angle. And the difference between it and a comic is now you have this dialogue box at the bottom where you can use where you use to put in details about your your production, right? So in your storyboard, you have the the main the main outstanding feature of storyboard are the camera angles and your details. So pretty much once you get the hang of this, the storyboard is really the foundation for your animation. Also, it's not 100% necessary for you to be able to draw properly, right? You don't have to be able to draw properly to be able to do storyboards. right? And this is one of those jobs that you don't even need a computer. You just need pencil and paper and the right formatting, and you are able to draw storyboards. Now let me show you a different. Let me show you a different storyboard. So this storyboard is a simple storyboard that I found online, and if you research online for storyboards, you will definitely find a whole heap of different types of storyboard. Now here's a simple storyboard, and we can break it down. Now remember, this is your building block. Before you start any production, even if you're doing video production, you need to know how to do it. So it's called body sensor and mobile web interfaces. So basically, it has different camera angles. First is a wide shot, right? And it gives you the description. User working at a computer adapt an unhealthy forward posture. So you notice how the drawing isn't all of that pretty, right? It's just a regular storyboard. Um, then it goes in closer. It changes the camera angle now from a wide shot to a close up, right? So that you can show the the thing on his neck. So the sensor adheres to the back, vibrates and alerts whenever he bends over, right? So basically, you have picture, and you have description. Now here is another part of the storyboard that has a split screen. So basically, it gives the instruction that when you're looking at this, you must create a split screen here, right? And of course, everywhere it gives you the detail and the description, and it shows the different camera angles. So one of the first camera angles are wide shot, next one is a close up. We call this a B-roll because it's not focused on the person. That is the one with the screenshot with the web and the mobile. This is a over the shoulder shot. That is panel number 4, where the camera is shot over the person's shoulder. Then it moves back to a close up and then goes back to a wide shot. All right, so that's how storyboards are made. And you create your storyboard from your script. Once you get a script, the storyboard comes naturally. And let's look at some scripts, right? Now, scripts are files that are, yes, you can write down dialogue, right? However, a script has a certain format to it. So a script has a certain format where it has to be set up in a certain way so that it's easy for people who are reading your script or would create your work. It's easy for them to understand. So let's look at this particular script. As I said before, when you go online, all you need to do is just type stuff in, and there you go. All right, so basically the script is set up like this. I'm not going to be hard and fast on you where scripts are concerned, but what I want is for you to follow even the basic the basic the basic outline of a script. So here we go. Now the script has these particular commands. First one is fade in. So what it is telling you is that the first shot is a black shot and it fades in from black. When you're watching movies, you will see these terms, right? You'll see these terms in action. Now EXT is the location, and the word EXT stands for external. So it's saying external, upscale, modern, home at night. So it's you're gonna imagine looking at a person's home, a huge home in the night, right? If it was inside, it can say int hallway, all right, or int cave or whatever. But int means inside, ext means outside. Then it gives you a description. So it says the ultimate bachelor pad, a portion start at the front of it. So right away, the script gives you a description of where the story is going to start. And then now, by as tradition holds it, you are now going to get your pencil or your camera. Then you're going to start to draw these things, right? And show how it really looks in the animated world. Now, if you look at the dialogue, right, they put the names in capital and then they put what is being said underneath, right? So this helps for easy reading. So when actors are doing their scripts, they don't mess them up. So it helps for easy reading. So you have a dialogue going back and forth between right? And it's pretty much goes on like that until it breaks. So that's how a script should be formatted. As well as you always go online, as I said, guys, typing script formatting, and it's very easy to come up with multiple sites that teach you to how to write scripts, format them, etc. Remember, I told you media and media production is one of the most popular things on the planet. So therefore, there are a whole heap of tutorials out there teaching people to do anything compared when we're talking about media. All right. Without further ado, let's move on. All right. So we were looking at the production workflow. We looked at scripts and we looked at storyboards, right? So let me stream again. All right, so now we have our script, we have our storyboard, the character, prop, and location design. That's very important. And you guys would have been designing your characters. Now, there are specific ways to design characters, right? And when you're going to show a character, you have to do what we call a character turnaround, right? So the character turnaround gives you the character reference from many different angles, right? So I'm going to show you I'm going to show you an example. Okay, let's stop the sharing on this one. Now here we go. We have some different character turnarounds, right? And let's look at each of them. So it gives you a front view, a side view, sorry, a front view, a side view, a front three-quarter view, a back three-quarter view, and a back view, right? They also give you an action pose, right, or a regular pose, right? And that is usually colored, right? So that's a character turnaround, right? That's one example of a character turnaround. Now here are some other examples. So if you notice, his arm is kind of detached, so it's probably saying that he has to do something. So they have this stylized version, what they color and all of that, and then they have the regular version. And this is in a standard pose where you put your hands out to the side like that, right? This is a standard pose that when you're designing characters, you design um, your characters with their standard poses, right? Now another very important concept when we talk about character design, right, is the expression sheet. So when I tell you to draw a character, really you are supposed to show me two things: the character turnaround and the expression sheet. Now I would like to know, do you guys have any questions before I go on? Let me just look at the expression sheet before I go on. All right, so this is an idea of a face expression sheet. Yes, you have your character, but how does his range of emotion work out? How does he look? Happy, angry, sad, devious, etc. Right? So you have to look at that situation. So for instance, here is another simpler expression sheet. It's just an emoji, right? And it shows the different emotional states of the emoji, right? And of course, if you're doing Japanese animation style um, cartoons, you would have known that um, the the facial features are what really sells Japanese anime. So here you go. This is a face expression sheet, and it shows you mad, surprised, happy, sad, confused, intense, etc. So what I'm expecting from you guys is whenever you design a character for me, let me just drop it in the bottom. Right. Whenever you design a character for me, you must have the following, right? You must have turnaround and a facial expression sheet, right? So you should have a turnaround and a facial expression sheet, right? Because I want to know how the character is going to look in different situations. And this is kind of a very good example of what you can use to follow, right? You can use them to follow. Okay, Kieran is here from football. Welcome. You can always rewind Kieran. So here's another link that you can use to see the different expression sheets. So turn around facial expression sheet. Also, another thing that you need to know is that while you have your turnaround, the turnaround does not have to be just like 6 images. It can just be three: front, back, side, three, four. All right, guys. Now I'm opening the floor to questions. Right, opening the floor to questions. Any questions before we move on? You guys have any questions before we move on? Right? No questions? No questions? All right, let's move on. All right, so we are continuing into our animation production, post production. All right. All right. So the next thing we want to look at is audio recording. Now, what are the best practices for recording audio? You have to ensure that you get a professional quality sound as much as possible, right? Now, how do you do that in your noisy house? um, what you have to do is ensure that you set up multiple like you set up your room so that you can block sound, like putting a heavy towel over the door, or putting sheets under the door, or not talking in an empty room, all of that good stuff, right? So you have to really set up yourself such a way that once you start recording, you start to you are able to make a proper sound without getting any noise, any background sounds in the background. Sorry, I repeated that. You get without getting any sounds in the background. All right. So here we go. So your animatic is next, right? And your animatic is really it's like a rough draft of your animation, and it's really rough. Like it's not much animation; it's just really quick. And I'm gonna show you an example of the animatic right now. So as I mentioned, every single stage, somebody is responsible for each stage. Every stage is a job in and of itself. Um, the the job of a storyboard artist, the job of a scriptwriter, the job of a producer or director, those are the high paying jobs. Now let's take a look at this animatic. And this animatic I think has sound, right?
Right here, right now, I put the offer out. I don't wanna kiss you down. I know you see it. You run with me, and I can cut you free out of the treachery of walls you keep in. So trade that typical for something colorful. And if it's crazy, live a little crazy. You can play it sensible, a king of conventional, or you can risk it all and see. No, you wanna get away from the strain. Oh, pot you gotta play, cause I got what you need. So come with me and take the ride. It'll take you to the other side, cause you can do like you do, or you can do like me. Stay in the cage, or you finally take the key. Oh, damn, suddenly you're free to fly. It'll take you to the other side. My friend, you wanna cut me in? Well, I hate to tell you, but it just won't happen.
All right. So that is your animatic, right? And you notice it's just what you call it now. It's just basic lines. It's not any finished um colored product, right? If you notice, let me just go through, right? So it's not colored or anything like that. It's just some basic lines and it shows the emotions of the character. It's pretty detailed, so it doesn't have to be this detailed. And so it just pretty much shows what the character is gonna look like and the camera angles that are being used, right? So that's how an animatic. So you can have a basic animatic or you can have some looking as lovely as this one, right? So it's not the full animation, it's just a part of it. All right. Now the next thing we're gonna be looking at in our workflow is our character prop background styling, right? Color styling, sound breakdown. Now it's just that is really just the finish adding the finishing touches to your animatic. So where you have your regular line drawings for your animatic, then you're gonna go in and then you're going to paint them, gonna color them. You're really creating a finished product, right? So basically that is it for the pre-production side of the animation, and then that goes into your production, right? Any questions so far? Let me have some questions. Go ahead, Jay, give me the question. No sir, no sir, take this. Uh, hmm, looking for questions. Looking for questions. Looking for questions. I'm wondering why people are dropping out. But hey, this is gonna be recorded, so hopefully you guys can get back in from this internet issue. All right, so basically, that is for your pre-production, right? Now, what happens during production? Now, let's look at what happens during production. All right, so in your production workflow, coming from your pre-production workflow now, you see how we're talking about all these things with workflows and all these things with these graphs and these charts. It's not really very, it's not really user friendly, but it helps you get from point A to point B. Now, you have three different workflows. You have traditional, paperless, or cutout. Cutout is stop motion, really. Paperless is digital animation. Traditional is hand drawn. So in your traditional um, animation setup, you go layout, posing, animation, digital exposure sheet. You scan it, and you ink it and paint it, composite, Render it, right? Composite is when you put two images on top of each other. And I will be giving you a very good demonstration of that in a few minutes. Paperless is really everything over here but on the computer, right? And you add to that animation. So after you're finished, somebody goes over. You remember the guy was doing his lines. Some of them weren't so straight. You have to go in and rub out some stuff, all of that. Then cut out our stop motion. You notice all of them start with your layout. Start with your layout, break down your characters and your props, set up your library, and the library is just where you keep your assets for your animation production. Then you set up your scene, set up your animation, you do your final compositing, you export, you render or you export. That means you send it to the final process, which is final editing, audio editing, and distribution. So that is the animation process in a nutshell, right? Right. Any questions so far? Okay. Somebody says instead of moving your hand, how exactly do I get the shade? I think this is not a question. Kieran, this is not a question for this class. It would have to be a question for the drawing class, which I may have to do a drawing class. You guys want a drawing class? That would be great. All right, good. So let's move on. Now, what I'm going to show you is an animated video that we did from scratch, right? And I'm just going to give you an idea where how we started. I'm gonna give you an idea how we started, step by step, getting from getting from the idea in our head to have it on the have it produced, right? So let me just give me a second while I search for it. All right, so we're back. Now let me share my screen again. Now, basically, my I can give you my personal workflow. You can follow it or you can set up your own. All right. Basically, whenever you're gonna create an animation, there are certain things that you need to consider. First of all, can my idea be done with the software that I have? Right. That is the first thing. So if you're using Flipperclip, if you're using Flip Anime, and you're good at either of them or Density, whatever you are good at, that is what you are going to use. Right? So let me write that down as tip one. Right? So tips to start animating. Tips to start animating. So tip one, first first tip of the day, right? Ensure that you have all your assets or gather all assets, right? So you're gonna gather all your assets. And what do I mean by gather all of your assets? You're gonna need pictures, sound, drawing, video special effects. You're going to need voice actors, and you're going to need sound effects. And all of your assets, and of course you're gonna need writers. All of your assets will be compiled into one folder. And that is where you reference everything else from that one folder, right? And I'm going to show you, of course, I'm going to show you examples of what I'm talking about. That way you do not get confused. All right. Then next step is software. Software. And I am just going to just edit this software. So software. Now, what kind of software are we using? You do not want to use software that you're not familiar with. That is one. So if you're comfortable with a software that does good animation, continue pushing it until you reach the ultimate in that software. It doesn't make sense you have a software and it cannot run on your computer. That would be folly. It doesn't make sense you have a software that's too hard to learn. That way, you're not able to react quickly enough to replicate things that you'd have seen and heard during the whole animation fiasco or whatever. So if you want to create, say for instance, 3D animation software, what kind of animation software are you looking to use? So naturally people will say, sir, we're going to use Maya or we're going to use 3D Studio Max. And those are all good great software. But what if you do not have a budget for that, you cannot afford to buy it? What will you do? Right? You download a trial version and you purchase some 20 days and then you remove trial version. Alright? So basically that is how you approach software. You find something that works for you. Do not look to the left, do not look to the right. Find something that works for you. And how can you use it to reasonably fulfill your your ideas, right? So that is where we talk about the whole software thing. All right, good. All right, so let me show you now how where we're gonna go. All right, I'm back up to five. Who is Queen Demon? Who is this guy? I do not know. All right, so I'm opening my application window. And I took the liberty of already downloading and fixing up a robot character, right? Now, if you notice, my robot is on this side of the screen, and that is a deliberate act, right? I have done that so that he's pointing to something in the middle of the screen. So let's break it down. Now, Photoshop has certain layers. As a matter of fact, I got this robot off freecook.com. You can actually download different robots or whatever. Here's the background, and it's obvious that our robot is pointing somewhere. So I have one head looking at the board, and I have one head looking at the crowd, right? So if you play around with that, I could do a simple animatic to just have him move his head like that, move his head around, not make his head disappear or his arm, just move his head around to give the impression that he is engrossed or is interested in something that is going on. Or it could just be that he's a con man, right? All right, so moving on. So here you go.